it's been announced that a long-running radio host who has been referred to as the unofficial fifth member of the Beatles has passed away, prompting various tributes. Bob Rogers, who has been described as Australia's longest-serving radio DJ, is said to have died, aged 97, whilst surrounded by loved ones at his home. The late presenter is survived by his wife Jerry Rogers and their 4 daughters. The news was shared by friend and family spokesperson Darren Hinch. The late radio host had a broadcasting career spanning more than 70 years. He worked for a number of stations over the course of that period, including 2A. The host, who fronted shows like The Bob Rogers Show on 2CH, had announced his retirement in 2020, after having launched his radio career in the 1940s. Bob notably accompanied the Beatles on tour in 1964, which included concerns in Australia, as part of a role on 2SM. It was the only time the band toured the country. The radio host has since been referred to as the fifth Beatle. Has said to have made radio interviews with the late John Lennon, Paul McCartney, the late George Harrison and Ringo Starr whilst on the tour. Speaking about the experience, Bob told the Sydney Morning Herald in 2022, "The deal was I would tour with them, and I would have exclusive rights to interview them every 2 days." In a statement shared by ABC News, Darren described Bob as a true icon and legend. He commented, "Words like legend and icon are tossed around too much these days, but in the case of Bob, they really apply. He really was a legend, he was a radio icon in Australia. He will be badly missed." Fans have paid tribute on social media this week following the news of Bob's passing. One person wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, "Recently, I grew up listening to him. A lovely man, too. He was one of the radio greats and they don't make him like that anymore." Another tweeted, "Absolutely devastated to learn about the passing of Bob Rogers. I've been a huge fan of his for many years." Whilst a third person said, "I remember he was king of the airwaves when I was growing up." Whilst one tweet read, "I had the great privilege of being the panel operator for radio legend Bob Rogers back in the 90s. Nicest bloke ever, with a never-ending list of stories about bands and musicians I'd give my left arm to have seen live, let alone meet. He was the best. Thanks Bob. Rest in peace." Someone else said, "Rest in peace, Bob. One of the best." And another person tweeted, "I remember him on 2A in the mornings in the early 1960s. Extraordinary longevity." Sharing their thoughts, one person said, "R.I.P. Bob Rogers. A giant of Australian radio. A career that will never be matched." Follow Mirror Celebs on TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube and Threads.